When you lack confidence, you are easily influenced. I think when you lack confidence in yourself, it affects every area of your life. You'll lack confidence in your relationship and you'll start to question things. You'll lack confidence in any area, really. And I think that when we don't recognize or deal with that confidence or that low self esteem or that insecurity, it can come kick us in the butt. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Mom Couch. Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, my name is Shira, and I am the host of this podcast where we talk all things motherhood, all things faith, and just a daily journal of what I go through, hoping you guys can relate. I promise I'm not going to scream at you guys this time. I think I got it all out my system. But I do want to know, how are you guys doing? Did you take a self-care day for yourself? Did you take some time for yourself? Did you do something for you so that you're not running on fumes? I want to know. Write it down in the comments. Also, I actually took some time for myself. I woke up late. I took a morning. It was just a morning. But it was so good, guys. Oh, it was so good. I took a morning. Um, I made it like a really slow morning. I got up late and I didn't rush or anything. I did my devotional. I just sat there and talked with the Lord and got a chance to plan things. But usually my mornings look, wake up and go get the kids ready and all this other stuff. But I didn't do that this morning. I took it slow, which is rare. So I think that set the tone for the rest of the week. And I've just been chilling. You would have thought I went to a spa. And that's just proof to show you, like, sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes all you need is a late start, a late morning to kind of not rush. Um, if you're like me, where you don't, we don't do mornings over here, and then if you're like me, that you know, it hits. But maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you are, you're a night person and you finally want to go to sleep early, or you need something in the middle of the day. But whatever it is, I hope you guys took some time for yourself. Um, because it can really tone your week. I know it did mine. Okay, so hopping right into it. I have a couple of things I was gonna say I want to get off my chest. Um, but this podcast is it's gonna be very transparent. I just felt led to share my testimony with you guys, and because something popped up on my timeline that I was just like, this is wild. Not too crazy, but I just feel like moms in society nowadays are being placed in a box. Like, it's like we have to be either three types of moms, or, and there's like no in between. And it's like, what type of mom are you? And I guess that's like just the media, social media standpoint of it. But even like in like real life, like in daily conversations, talking to other moms, I could just hear like them placing themselves in a box, like just, like, oh yeah, I'm an early riser and I like to keep things tidy. Okay, before I even rant, let me tell you what I'm talking about. So, on social media, there's this trend, and you guys should know it's like everywhere. If you're on Mom Talk, um, I need to take a break from TikTok also, because I talk about TikTok every episode. I need to cleanse. So, but anyway, so this is trend going around, where you guys heard of like the type A, type B, type C mom? No, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. I think that we categorize ourselves and people a lot. That's fine. Everybody has different personalities. That's totally fine. But I guess I'm speaking to the new moms out there because I think if I would have heard this when I was a new mom, newly, freshly, with just my firstborn son, I would have been quick to put myself in a box. Like, what type of mom am I? And try to fit in with the social norms. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I think trends like that can cause a lot of comparison, as if social media doesn't already cause comparison. Like, we get on social media and we see all these influencers living a certain life, and we're just like, I want to be like that. And I was talking to someone else about this actually, and it's crazy because we don't get off social media and be like, oh man, I wish my life was like that. Like, no, no. But after a while, soaking it in, your actions and your daily habits just show that. And then you start to get frustrated a little bit more about certain things. I'm telling you what I went through. I'm just telling you what I went through. Because I had to kill it. I had to nip it in the bud because it was a point in time in my life where I was constantly on social media and I was watching these big influencers, these mom influencers, these YouTube celebrities as they call it. And I was getting easily influenced and I was like, I didn't say out loud or like in my mind the first time I saw it, but a couple of weeks went by, a couple of months went by, and I was like, dang, like, I wish, I wish I was like that. Like, I wish I had a big house. Like, that would be so cool. And then I start to get frustrated with things around my house. Like, if I had a bigger house, like, if I had this, if I had that, then it wouldn't be a problem. And that's that influence kicking in. That's that influence kicking in. And it usually kicks in during frustration. And I noticed that, I peeped that, and I was just like, mm, yeah. And it can happen to us moms very easily because I think we get stuck in this pattern of being a mom and we don't want to just be a mom. Like, I know when I was, when my kids were like still newborns, I didn't want to just be a mom. Like, I wanted to have something else on my plate. But God called us to this. God called us to it, and I think for a season, especially for that newborn season, it's okay to just be a mom. It's okay because all of our attention, this is the season in our life that we're at, and all of our attention serves this purpose. So I think it's okay. It took me some time to realize that. It really did. But anyway, about this type A, type C mom. I think one is like messy, the other one is like a neat freak, and the other one is like in between. I think the videos are hilarious. I can definitely see where I stand in them. I'm not gonna go into that, but um I just wanted to say you don't have to lock yourself in a box and categorize yourself with these type of moms. And I think that, that can easily influence us to act a certain way. And while I was looking at these videos, I'm like, I was like comparing myself and I was like, well, what type of mom am I? And immediately, it was like, it was almost like I heard my husband say, but he wasn't there. But it was like, why are you trying to place yourself in a box? Like, why are you trying to place yourself in a box? Why are you trying to be um something that the world says a mom should be? And I quickly started to notice that comparison was slowly grabbing me up. And this is what I really want to talk about today is the confidence that we have as moms, because I feel like a lot of um a lot of the world can kind of affect our confidence, especially as moms to first time moms, for sure. I think when you have more than one kid, there's nothing wrong with having one kid, but I think when you have more than one kid, you are a little bit more experienced and your confidence goes up. Not all the time, but you kind of know what you're doing at, you know, after like your fourth child. You're just like, okay, let's go. Even though every kid is different, you're just like, we know the swing of things here. Um, but I wanted to read this to you. So, when you lack confidence, you are easily influenced. When you lack confidence, you are easily influenced. And I'm just going to speak on my behalf, right? I'm putting all my business out there. I lacked confidence for a long time. I think one of my struggles when I was growing up, and this kind of just goes into my testimony, was that I struggled with my identity. I had a really hard time in high school just figuring out who I was, and even like younger than that. And I was just like cling on to different social norms, different things, different trends, to be in, because I wanted people to like me and I wanted people to see me as a certain way. And I think I was doing that out of lack of identity because I didn't really know who I was like at that point in time, especially when I was younger. Um, and so it was really hard for me. And when you don't know who you are, most of the times you're insecure. And I was so insecure because I felt, so you guys know that I grew up in a church background. My parents was, they was a little on the strict side. And I felt like my friends' parents were so cool. Like they let them do whatever they want. They got to stay out late and go to parties, and I'm just like, dang, how do your mom let you do this? Like, and even if they snuck out, like obviously they didn't get in that much trouble because they did it again. And I'm just like, huh? Like I grew up with the fear of the Lord. Like the Lord is watching you. The Lord gonna tell us. Like, and not in an antagonizing way, but just like, where you come from kind of way. But yeah, so I wanted to act like them. I wanted to act like my parents weren't strict and they let me out and I could do whatever I want, but child, they can see right through me. They can see right through me. And I was just like, it is what it is. And when I got older, I was just like, I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. Lord, I officially give myself to you. You show me who I am. I am done pretending. I am done being insecure, having low self-esteem, I give myself to you. I give myself to you. And I am so glad. I am so glad I did that before I became a mom because it would have been that much harder. I think when you lack confidence in yourself, it affects every area of your life. You'll lack confidence in your relationship and you'll start to question things. You'll lack relationship in your motherhood if you become a mom. You'll lack confidence in any area really. And I think that when we don't recognize or deal with that confidence or that low self-esteem or that insecurity, it can come kick us in the butt. So I just wanted to expand on that point because I was at the park the other day. Sorry. I was at the park the other day and I saw this mom and she was trying to get the kids. Well, actually, I was there first. There was a whole bunch of big kids at this park and I was just like, I was debating on taking my little ones to this park because these big kids be wilding out. I can't see my kids big yet. I just can't picture it. And I know they'll probably be just as active as these other big kids, but I can't see it yet. So any other big kid is a threat to my kid, okay? Because they run around and they don't really have no care for the little ones, which is fine. They're kids. Um, but anyway, so there was a whole bunch of big kids. There's this big slide at this playground we go to, and they were all at the top of the slide, and they was just sitting there. They was sitting there. They was yelling down from the bottom to their friends, and my little ones were trying to go up, but they was a little intimidated. They was intimidated because every other kid up there was big. They was blocking the slide. It was kind of crowded. My husband was standing on the bridge part, kind of just redirecting them, letting them know, reassuring them that, yeah, go up. It's okay. Go up. But they can go up. They could have gone up, but the kids were still blocking the slide. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, if they go up, then the kids will see they're trying to go down the slide and they'll move out the way, right? Right? So they didn't move out the way. And before like I could do anything, I was gonna tell my husband, just bring them down. This lady came over and she had a daughter that was also trying to go up, and she's like, excuse me, hello, are you going down the slide? Go down the slide. You need to go down the slide so other kids can go. Go ahead, go. And she pointed to the other kid. You going on the slide? No. Okay, you need to move out the way. Like she was like, all right, go down the slide, and she was telling her child to go. She was like, go ahead, go. You see? All right, guys, you can't block the slide. Like, and the kid listened. Like, she had a very straight tone voice. You guys know those moms that don't care about nothing. You're not about to, you move out the way, okay? Like those parents is like, listen, you gonna listen what I have to say. Like, and I admired her so much. I admired her so much because couldn't be me. Couldn't be me because I'm not about to scream at somebody else's kid. And that's just me. That's just my personality. But the confidence she had to say, listen, because where I'm at, these kids are, oh, they'll tell you something. They'll tell you something. And I be darned if a kid tell me off. Um but they didn't say nothing. They went down the slide peacefully, and I was like, dang, like I kind of want to be like that. Like I want to be at that authoritative, confident level. And lo and behold, the big kids came back to that slide again, and the lady had already left with her kids. She was like, "Come on, it's too crowded over here." And I was like, "All right, let's give it a try." I was like, "Excuse me." I was like, "You guys coming down?" I was like, "Go down so my kids can go," and I wasn't as loud. But they went, and I had a little confidence in my voice, and they went, and I'm saying this to say, confidence is, first of all, you have to figure out where your confidence is coming from. Your confidence shouldn't come from you. If you love the Lord, you follow Christ, your confidence should be in Christ, and He's going to show you who you are. And that's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some steps, and that's totally fine. But the confidence that He instills in you is not just for you, it's for other people as well. Because just like she kind of influences me, that's what your confidence do. And I pray, I hope that I get to the level where people they are like influenced by my confidence, and not in like a pride conceited way. You ever been around someone who just know what they're doing? They just look like they know what they're doing. They're fully confident. They don't care what anybody say. And it's not in like a prideful, uppity, conceited way. It's just that, they're confident. Like you can clearly see they're confident. I admire them. It makes me admire them. It makes me say like, wow, like I want to be like that. Like, wow, like she really. she really took the room, you know? And that's what your confidence should do, but in the most humblest way. Um, and I think that once we grow confident in who we're supposed to be, it's going to help in all aspects. And like I said, when you lack confidence, you're kind of easily influenced. And what do I mean by that? You can go on social media and you can be easily influenced. So if you're easily influenced and you buying everything that come across your page, girl, okay? And you out here saying, yeah, I'm easily influenced, and you buying each and everything and you trying each and every trend, you might want to catch you just might want to check your confidence level. Because yeah, yeah. It's easy to fall into the patterns of the world. It's so easy. Um, but don't let it choke you up, girl. Don't let it choke you up. And another thing, I don't even know the name of this podcast because I'm jumping, but be careful of how you compare yourself to others, especially other moms. You do not know what they're going through. They may look like they have it all together. They may look like, everything is good in the hood, and you tell I'm getting old. Good in the hood, girl. Okay, everything is good and cool and all their kids and they got it all together, and when you see them out with their kids is all put together and they're not screaming and stuff like that. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know. And I'm not saying that as in they're probably doing bad, absolutely not, but you just don't know their circumstances. And I think that a lot of times, most of the times, we compare ourselves. We're not even comparing ourselves to people that, you know, is really doing what they're supposed to do. And first of all, I think everybody goes through something, but we're not comparing ourselves to, these good influencers like we think they are, but you just never know. And I think that, and I'm saying this because I'm gonna just say it. I was recently following someone that they just looked like everything was cool about them. Like they looked like they had it down packed with the kids and they was walking in what they're supposed to do, and all this good stuff. And I'm just like, wow, life must be great. This person is a podcast host, not gonna name any names, but they got on a podcast and they started talking about their life and, started to kind of break down. And I was like, dang, like I would have never knew that. Like on the outside looking in, everything looked like it was working out for them. They was getting money, all this other stuff. And you just never know. It just brought me back to reality. Like you never know. And hearing this, you say, yeah, of course. Like of course, that's the everybody says that, like like you never know what they're going through, but you don't really take it into account. You really don't, because you look at people and you think they're all uppity and think they got it together. And honey child, listen, listen, and don't compare your kids either, because I've heard a lot of that too, where it's just like their kids is so well behaved and they just sit there and don't do that too, because I almost got caught up because my kids, they are very emotional. Emotional, that's the word. They're very emotional. And I almost caught myself saying, like dang, like I just wish they was a little bit more calm. Baby, those are the babies that the Lord gave you, and it's okay. It's okay that they act like that. Maybe there's a gift underneath. Find the reasoning behind it. Don't, kind of make yourself feel bad for having kids that act a certain way. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. God knew what he was doing when he gave you those kids, when your kids act a certain way. So it's okay. And he's going to give you the strategies to deal with it too. That's another thing. Yo, I'm hopping all over the place. Um, but once I started praying, and this is real talk, y'all. Sorry. Once I started praying, I started to pray, Lord, help me, give me the strategies on how to be a mom, on how to be the mom you called me to be. And once I started praying that, I started to see things a little bit differently. No lie. I started to see things as, I started to look at the reasoning behind instead of getting easily angered and easily frustrated. I started to say, well, why would they do that? At this age, where are they mentally? Because sometimes we don't look at that. Sometimes we're just so frustrated because we told them over and over again to don't do something or to do something or whatever, and we get frustrated, which is fine. We're human. We're human and we have emotions just like our kids have emotions. But the only thing is, we're more experienced in our emotions. So if you find yourself getting frustrated, remember, or just take a look at where your kids are mentally. If they're young like mine, then mentally they're not fully developed yet. And you have to take that into account. And I know it's hard. I know I have some people in here that might say, oh, but they still should know better. No, you better teach them better. Listen, they're still kids. And I'm not the type to, don't scream at your kids and don't do this. And I do speak to my kids in a certain tone, where it's not screaming. I try my best not to scream, but I think that you still need to kind of peep where they are at this age and understand where they are and understand what this age comes from it. So yeah, sorry y'all. I'm hopping all over the place, but I honestly truly wanted to talk about the confidence within motherhood. I feel like it's not talked about a lot. I feel like a lot of the time society tears mothers down. They tear us down and they put us in boxes, and we take it. We take it. We say, "Okay, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to conform to," And I think that when we kind of form ourselves in these social norms, it kind of messes up who we are and who God called us to be, you know? Um, so yeah, this is probably going to be a long podcast, but I don't want to make it too long. So we'll have a part two. Also, I am so excited because I think we have like 2 or 3 episodes left until season 2 of the Mom Couch. Um, I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. I never thought I'd be doing this. I never thought I'd be doing this. Truly. It's so amazing. Little old me, a woman, a girl of very little words, is talking on a podcast. A very private girl is just out here telling the world my business. But all for the glory of God. And I fell in love. I fell in love with being a mom. I didn't know how much I was gonna love it. When I became a mom, I knew that I was gonna love my child very much, but I didn't know how much joy it was gonna bring. You hear it, but when you actually have your first son or your first daughter, this overwhelming feeling of love comes upon you. And I fell in love with every single aspect of it. Being pregnant is a different story, But when my baby boy came out, I was just like, wow, even through the sleepless nights, even through, the bad days and the good days and the sicknesses and the diapers and all this other stuff, I loved every single part of it. It's truly not a part of this motherhood journey I can say I absolutely hate. Like, I absolutely dread. Like, of course, I hated. I didn't hate. Catch myself. Of course, I didn't like the sleepless nights. It wasn't appealing. I was very tired. But I low key would do it again with my own kids. Like, if I could go back in time and do it again, not another kid. We can make that clear. Um, but yeah, I absolutely fell in love with motherhood, and I was just like, man, like I loved it so much. I wanted to talk about it. Like, I didn't mind talking about the things of being a mom to people all day. That was my conversation starter. And I started to learn more, and I started to watch other people and just, kind of study what this whole calling, because that's what it is, what's it all about and what it holds. And I fell in love even more. So yeah. But I so yeah, I never thought I'd be here. I just thought that I'm probably gonna speak about motherhood a lot. I just never thought it was gonna be in a podcast, y'all. But here we are. Here we are. So yeah. So season 2 is coming up. I think we have 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm excited. I'm ecstatic, y'all. I think this next season I'm gonna have some guests on, and we're gonna have some real conversations. Also, I'm thinking about doing some lives. You let me know. But I'm gonna end this before it gets too long. So let's pray. Father God, I pray for the mom, the parent that is watching this, Father, that you remind her who she is in you. You remind her she's the head and not the tail. She is above and not beneath, Father. You remind her that she is bold, she is courageous, Father, and that she can do all things through Christ that strengthens her. I thank you for dwelling in her. Show her you this week. Show her you, Father. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Bye, guys.